What's going on, everyone? Welcome. Come on in. Come on in. It's nice, the silent treatment today. Yeah. What's going on? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in through the door. I hope you are ready for a wonderful episode. What's good? What's good? We used to do it. We used to do like the chill. What's going on? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's back with those hot, sweaty balls for our undeserving chins. We're not worthy. No, you're not. Not worthy at all. Not worthy at all. Well, thank you, Gina. What's up, Christine, Shelly, Arya, Nico? What up? What up? How we doing, everyone? How we doing? How we doing? You're very welcome. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. You missed the music? Oh, we'll come back with it. I'm just trying something different. Working on some new streaming stuff. Holla, holla, holla. The music will always be there. The music will always be here. Just to felt like talking. Just to felt like a talking. All right, fam. We're ready to get started. Here we go in 3, 2. No, I'm just joking. 1. Ha. Let's do it. Oh, 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 oh. The wall enormous.
The sun is shining. The birds are chirping. The bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing, 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 testing. Testing, 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 testing testicles. Testing testicles, testicles, testicles. Sorry. There we go. I hit a little button there. No big deal. My face is right here. So just working on those of you that are Instagram, you found me. Those of you that are watching on YouTube and those who are watching on Facebook, just playing around. I am changing a couple things with the streaming. So things look a little differently. I've just been playing with some things, playing with some settings. You know how I do. Always trying to make it better. Always trying to do the right fucking thing. And we lost sound for a second because dumb fuck himself didn't push the sound on button. So if you keep on asking for sound, don't worry. The sound's here. The sound's here, fam. It's here. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's delayed. You can hear me. You can hear me now. Anyway, Instagram, you can see me. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Remember, you can catch the podcast, the Slamcast, the Swolecast on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Periscope, and Twitch. And of course, you can catch the podcast everywhere. SoundCloud, not really, actually, not SoundCloud. Spotify, you can listen on Apple Podcast and so forth. Okay, I haven't updated SoundCloud in a little bit because we do it my way. We do it my way. Anyway, so Apple Podcast, Apple, Android, everywhere. So I look different on my screen too. How do I look? How am I looking? How am I looking? How are we doing? How are we looking? All in AW. So what we're going to do, let's get some comments on what you thought about yesterday's podcast. And today is kind of like the yesterday's podcast. It's a continuation. And I want to talk also about Alan's new video. And I knew this was coming because we had talked about, of course, off air. And he posted the video today. So we'll get into that. And this is based on Stephanie Buttermore's video. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. A lot of you have asked me to make a video. I didn't because I was aware that he was making one. And also, I didn't know as much about the context of it. But I've been making some videos about the 10,000 calorie challenges. And you've probably seen that on YouTube. I've talked a lot about that even on the podcast, these videos. And I even mentioned her name and I was discussing her challenge videos and these types of excessive excuse me, exorbitant caloric intake videos. And it's not just her. So it wasn't like she was the only one or has been the only one that's been doing these excessive binge eating videos. Everyone does that because it gets views. But as we've talked about, and as Alan very succinctly put it in his video, is the fact that there is a disconnect. There's a disconnect with social media and reality, period. This video is about the fitness industry and that disconnect with actual health and fitness, in which he touched upon that in his video today. So if you didn't see that video, you can go check it out. Those of you that are watching live, so if you're on Instagram, you're not going to see this, but here's the video. Let's see. Here's the video right here. All right, so here is her. This is what I'm talking about, and you could see her video on the left and his videos on the right. So if you're watching on Instagram, you could also catch it on Daily Swole Podcast on YouTube, the live stream. Those of you that are watching on Facebook and on YouTube, you can see this video right now. Or you could, not the video, I'm not playing it, but you can see the thumbnails. So on the left is her video that she posted. When was that? Did I say June? Or is that July? June 5th. So this is something that she's been kind of talking about and discussing for a while. And this is the one on the right that Alan at Every Damn Day Fitness, if you're not familiar, which I'm sure you are at this point, if not already. And that's the video that he posted today, as you can see, 7 hours ago. So the summary of it, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, for those of you that aren't going to go watch it anyway, the purpose of this is her admitting and discussing the fact that she has had issues with her menstrual cycles or her endocrine system. She has been having, just because she's been doing this restricted diet and this restricted lifestyle for a long time because she's competed. And of course, other issues associated with wanting to look a certain way and getting really obsessed with how many calories you're consuming, counting, micromanaging, all those things. But in order to look a certain way, for a competition, but also for social media. This is the topic that I just kind of mentioned with the social media aspect that I want to talk about for the main focus of this video. So if you haven't yet gone and checked Alan's video and referenced her video, we can talk. You can go in and watch those on YouTube. So his video today, he just posted Stephanie Buttermore, cheat days, all in, and the problem, I believe it says the problem with the fitness industry. And this is referencing Stephanie Buttermore's video, I'm going all in, why am I so hungry, day one. So she's been doing a series, and I agree right off the bat, if you haven't seen Alan's video, I agree with his video. I think it's very important that we have this conversation, but the conversation, and I've been saying this, of course, for the past 3 fucking years, the conversation has to come back to health and longevity. And this is a reason why here on the Daily Swole, we talk about yoga, we talk about mobility all the time. This is something that has to be the direction that we're going with fitness and health. Health and fitness has to fucking be health and fitness. Health and fitness has to come back to actually being health and fitness. It's not normal to be, why am I showing my fucking desktop? Health and fitness has to be about health and fitness. Bottom line, it has to come back to that. It has to come back to health and fitness. It's not where that is right now. And that's because of social media. And social media is just our current state of communication. This is how we communicate. If it's it used to be it used to be instant messenger, it was AOL instant messenger, and then it was all those ICQ, and then it was and then we just started texting, and then you had Facebook kind of sprouted, you had MySpace, but this is just how humans communicate. It's easier to communicate this way. This is how we are having our conversations. This is what humans are doing now. So this is social media. This is just communication. And whether or not you want to believe in this type of communication, whether or not you feel comfortable accepting the fact that this is how we are having our speaking, it's through our fingers, it's through making YouTube videos and answering and responses. And I don't agree with that. Actually, I don't agree with that, Danny. I don't agree with that. Social media is sad. I recently got banned from Facebook for 30 days for speaking out against obesity. I agree with that comment. However, the communication aspect. Communication is just, this is where it is. This is where communication is. So social media is twisted. And I agree that you shouldn't be getting banned. You shouldn't be getting fucking banned for speaking out against obesity. I mean, I speak out against obesity. But the point of the matter is, it's speaking out against obesity from a health standpoint. A health standpoint, speaking out against obesity, is much different. It's much different than saying you're fat and I'm making fun of you. You look like shit. I don't like you as a person because you're fat. That is a dickhole asshole move. That is not normal and shouldn't be. That shouldn't be normalized, if that makes sense. Okay, that shouldn't be normalized. That shouldn't be something that we accept. We shouldn't be brutal and insulting to one another. I don't think you're a piece of shit because you are obese. If you are obese, I want to help you. I want you to understand that this is putting your health at risk, and this is not a good look. This is not something that you should be pursuing. You shouldn't be accepting the fact that you're obese. You shouldn't be accepting the fact that you are, morbidly obese or overweight or on the track for diabetes, heart disease, all these things. You are increasing your risk factor hundreds and hundreds of times. And it's important to understand the difference between how someone looks and the health of someone. And the problem with our social justice warriors and the state of the psychology of this extreme all acceptance, extreme left. I mean, it is very often political. And I mentioned this in one of my recent videos. A lot of these activists are attaching body positivity, fat acceptance onto their own agendas. Whether it's LGBT, whether it's any other type of ideology in that sense, gender-related issues, everyone is like, they're combining it because if you roll more clay onto the ball, so to speak, you're going to have a bigger ball of clay, right? You can just attach it and make it part of the same thing because we're accepting people that are victimizing themselves. It's a different issue, however. I'm not talking about accepting someone as a person. That's a big distinction. Don't you think that's a really big distinction? That's not something that we talk about enough. It's a massive, 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 massive distinction. It's a big, big difference. If you don't like the way someone looks because they're fat, if you don't like the way someone looks, that is a whole different issue than that person is extremely obese. They are at high risk for a major disease and illness that can be prevented. That's a whole different conversation. That's the same thing as saying, I don't like that person because they're black. I don't like that person because they're Asian. That's what that means. That's the same kind of thing. And that's not appropriate. However, you can't control what someone thinks, but we can provide better information and explain. And that's like where we are with society. We are becoming more accepting of other people. That's not a problem. If you want to look, you don't have a choice. If you're black, you're black. If you're Asian, you're Asian. If you're a Native American, you're a Native American. But if you're unhealthy, you are unhealthy. That doesn't have a color. That doesn't have a gender. That doesn't have a preference. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. And I don't want this to get political, but I'm not making it political. They've already made it political. They've already made it a social issue. But the issue that I have is that these movements are masking the fact that this is not about accepting someone for the way they look. This is about accepting this progressive trend to being more and more unhealthy and putting us all at risk because the financial crisis that's coming it's for a lot of these medical debts and medical burdens, and people are getting their lives destroyed because they can't afford the medications that they can prevent the issue from even before they even need the fucking medications. This is the issue that I'm talking about. This is my concern. And when we have hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars every year going for diabetes and all these other obesity related issues, and we have the ability to prevent these things, we have the ability to make sure that this doesn't perpetuate itself. What the fuck? What the fuck? What are we waiting for? Why are we tiptoeing around the obesity issue? It's not about the way the person looks. Everyone, even if you're not obese, let's say you have a healthy BMI. Let's say we're going after BMI. Okay, if you don't know what BMI is, this is just pretty much body mass index, taking someone, usually appropriate for someone who doesn't exercise, usually appropriate for someone who doesn't have any experience with training. You just take their height and their weight and you come up with a number. And of course, if you are, let's say, about 6 feet tall, you should be approximately this much weight. But once you start lifting, you build more lean mass and those numbers become very, very distorted. And according to BMI, for example, because of my height, I'm about 5'10 or so, 5'11 maybe when it's sunny out. And my body weight, I'm like probably low mid 190s. I'm obese because of my body weight, but obviously I'm not obese. I have muscle mass. And for the volume, muscle weighs more than fat. Okay. So for a given amount visually, so in order to reach 195, let's say at my height, you would look obese. So when you just do the math straight up without any context, yeah, I'm going to be obese, but that's not accurate once you put on some muscle. So but BMI is just a BMI is a very, very quick way of assessing generally. But once you start training, it's not accurate that much. Okay. It's really not, because, and then that's where I think people that are obese already and they start training and they put on some muscle mass and that BMI goes down, but it kind of doesn't go down as fast as they thought it would. It's distorted once you start putting on lean mass. It's distorted once you get past maybe the fundamental basic muscle mass that a human being would have. So the conversation has to go from, oh, how do you look? Do you like the way that person looks? Do you like that I have a fucking man bun? Do you like the fact that I have a fucking beard? Do you like that? Do you like the fact? It doesn't fucking matter. I don't care if you like my beard. I don't care if you like my hair. I don't give a fuck. However, that's your opinion. You are welcome to like the beard. You're welcome to like the hair. You're also welcome to dislike both of those things. You don't like my shoulder or you don't like the way my hands look. It doesn't matter. That's your opinion. Okay. So you're welcome to your opinion. We are all welcome to our opinions. But when your physical traits are mapping towards a lack of health, towards issues, myself, Alan, we want to help. It's important to address the fact that these are preventable things. And I don't think people are really aware of the serious implications and the serious outcomes that are coming for them in the very near future. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And it's not going to be a good look. And it's not just from a point where, hey, well, my taxes are going to go to pay for your medical bills. Don't you care about your health? Don't you want to fucking wake up and feel good and not be out of breath and not have trouble sleeping? Don't you want to wake up and be able to play with your kids and your grandkids and know that you can go and walk up a flight of stairs or go hiking or go on a bike ride or do anything you wanted to because you just fucking wanted to? You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to have six-pack fucking abs. You don't have to have massive biceps. You don't have to be fucking shredded. You don't have to be able to do a massive box jump. You need to be able to be healthy enough to do whatever the fuck you want to do. It's not about looking a certain way. It's about being healthy so you don't have these preventable. Who wants to literally walk? It's like going onto a cliff and voluntarily walking off the edge of the cliff. You know you're going to walk off and you're going to fucking die, but you're like, oh, I guess I can't stop this. And you keep on fucking walking and then you just boom and you drop and you just fall off. Why? You can just take a left. You can turn around and go back the other way. You just got to change a couple things. Now, if you are looking at this from this perspective, it's not about looking a certain way and performing or being on stage. But that's where the fitness industry is. And this is what this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the fitness industry. And you have social media and you have this social aspect of it. And the important thing about this video that she made, that Stephanie Buttermore made, and that Alan commented on in his video is the fact that she was concerned and she was apprehensive about doing this in part because she didn't want her following to leave her. She was concerned about her fans and her audience not supporting her and leaving. And this is when you tie in your identity and you tie in your self-worth to how many fucking subscribers you get, how many likes you get on a video, how many likes and comments you get on a post. And it's a very challenging thing, even for myself. I'm much more I'm much more, I guess, separated from those types of metrics because from a business standpoint, I look at them and I want to see, I look at a post and I look at, okay, how many likes did it get? I look at it, fucking you do too. Don't give me like you look at how many likes you get. You look at how many views. You look at the comments. But of course, I'm answering comments and this, that, and the other. But when I look at those things, I look at them to say, oh, this post worked. People really responded well to this. This helped a lot of people. For me, I'd rather see 500 comments than 500 likes. The likes are just okay. But I use that as a metric to say, oh, this is really responding and resonating well with people. This is something that people want to see more of. This inspires a lot of people. A lot of people are getting value from this post. But it's also very easy when it comes from, and that's honestly, this is part of the creation of what I did. This is part of the structure. It's not me. It's not as an individual. Swolenormous is my brand. Swolenormous is my media company. And it's a separation because I'm like, oh, this Swolenormous is doing X, Y, and Z. It's not me. So I look at this and I say, okay, this is what works. This is what doesn't work. But when you have a personal account, when it's like StephanieButtermore.com or Stephanie Buttermore or Mike Jackson or anyone, it's like people are liking you or disliking you. Does that make sense? People like me, people don't like me. People are supporting me, people are don't, or me. When you have a personal brand, when you're posting from your own account or from your own name, or you attach everything to you, it's important that you might not have it all lined up in your brain. You don't have that separation. And that's just how I think of it. And honestly, that's how I protect myself. A lot of you probably wonder, and I've had a lot of people ask me, like, how do you post so often? How do you do this? Because I separate myself. Psychologically. They're two different things. I separate myself from it. It's a distancing thing. It's a psychological distancing thing that I do. Okay. But a lot of people internalize it and they make it about themselves without even realizing it. So their self-worth, their identity, and their value to their audience gets distorted. And to be afraid to post and to be honest, that's a fucking problem. Because this is what fitness should be about. This is what the approach of training, of fitness should be about. What she said in her video, she's looking for more longevity. That's what health and fitness should be about. That's where it should be. It should be you pursuing training, nutrition for a maintainable lifestyle that you can lock down, that you can be consistent with for a long period of time. It's not for the short term, it's for the long term. It's for the rest of your life. Now, is that going to change as you get older? Is that going to change and adjust as you go through the different phases and the different seasons of your life? Fuck yeah, why wouldn't it? Of course. Everything changes. I'm different now than I was last year, than I was the year before, than I was the year before that. If you're not changing, I was just thinking yesterday, I saw a video on YouTube and it was like a sports highlight. It was from a World Cup and it was like from the USA, like in 2010. And I remember watching that on TV and I actually sat back and it led me down this rabbit hole in my brain. And I just kind of like meditated on it for a little bit. And I thought about this. And I thought about where I was. You ever do that? You ever watch a movie or you watch a clip of something that you remember and you just kind of get a flashback of, oh, where was I? You picture it watching. I picture watching it on, in my old living room on a certain TV in a certain stage in my life. I remember whatever job I was working at, wherever I was living. I just remembered this whole time frame in my life. And then I thought, what happened the next year? And I just went through like my history. I kind of went through like my little biography for about 10 years, like 10 years. So I went through this little process and I thought about it. I'm like, fuck, like I was so different 9 years ago. Obviously, but it's a completely, just how many different phases, but it wasn't just that. It was one little phase. And then I went to a whole other section of my life. And then I went to another section and there were like 4 or 5 little phases within that 9. And it was only 9 years, It's not that long. I went through so many different phases of my life in that time period. So if you're not learning and changing on a regular basis, you're not really you're not really locked into what it is to be a human. You're not really developing. You shouldn't be the same person that you were 10 years ago. If you are in a serious fucking rut. You need to be growing. It doesn't mean you need to be doing all these different things every couple of years, but you need to be developing as a person with your opinions and with your education and things like that. So if you think about that a little bit more, how far you've come and how many different phases, whether it was this specific boyfriend or girlfriend or this job and you lived in this place, like, oh my God, in this 6 years, how much stuff and how much different psychological, just how many different states was I in and what my mindset was at those times. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting when you look back at it. So that being said, you're always changing, you're always adapting. So understanding that fitness is for the rest of your life. Look, health and fitness is your shit until you fucking die. So it is the rest of your life. It's for the rest of your life for however long your life is. That's what it's for. That's what health and fitness is for. It's for that length. Now, is it going to change? It should. I'm sure it will. You're not going to be lifting fucking super heavy for 90 years. You're going to adjust. You're going to fall in love with different styles of training. You're going to experiment with different things. Hopefully you don't get injured, but maybe you go through a period of a setback where you have to reassess some things. Maybe get really into more yoga. Maybe you really get into more meditation. Maybe you find out, holy shit, I never realized how much I loved swimming or hiking or cycling. So that became a real staple in your training. And then you went through a period of learning how to balance out that type of aerobic endurance and not overdoing that and whatever. It doesn't matter. Maybe you get really into Spartan races and those like mud runs or CrossFit or I don't know, picking vegetables. Like you just love picking strawberries. You just can't get enough of it. I don't know what the fuck you want to do, but that's like, you're going to go through those periods and it's totally fine. You can't judge yourself. Enjoy. Now, that's where fitness has to be going. That's where we have to go with our health and fitness conversation. It's longevity. And if you're extremely obese, there ain't much longevity coming down the pipeline for you. Okay? That's the fucking issue. And with her situation, it was extreme underweight. And I've done videos and I actually have another one coming on very underweight people that are giving advice that is dangerous. And if you're giving someone advice, you sure as hell better practice what you preach. What do you think about that? A lot of people practice shit or are preaching something, they don't practice it themselves. If you're telling someone else to be healthy, you better fucking play the role. You better be healthy. You better have your shit locked down. You better look fucking healthy. When you don't look healthy and you're telling someone else to be healthy, holy shit. Holy fucking shit. For real? For real. You better live that lifestyle. You better actually embody what you're telling other people. Don't be a fucking hypocrite. Just like Madeline Georgetta, the video that I made on YouTube. Don't be a fucking hypocrite. Don't be telling people that you're beautiful no matter the way you are. And then, right or where you're being sponsored by a company, it goes up to fucking large only. Not that inclusive. Don't lie to people and tell them that they're going to be okay and they're wonderful the way they are when they are walking into a buzzsaw, when they are extremely obese. No fat personal trainers, Sean. Yeah, no fat fucking personal Where are my fat personal trainers at? Okay, there's a lot to be said. Walk the walk. Don't just talk it, walk it. Overweight dietitians, overweight doctors. A lot of people are fucking overweight and a lot of people are obese. And that distinction, where this is going, and to contrast the deficiency of nutrition, the undercaloric intake of Stephanie Buttermore and what this topic was about, on the other end of the spectrum, obesity is getting kind of watered down. Now, when you're obese, it's a lot more. You have to be a lot heavier and have a lot more extra body mass to be considered obese. All the sizes are changing. I'm starting to wear smaller sizes because a small is now, or a medium is now a small, and a large is now a small. And I was mentioning like a couple weeks ago, there's a great pair of shorts that I love to get. They're like these sweatpant type shorts, and Mama Swole gets me some pairs, and they're a small. They're a fucking small, and they fit me great. I love them. They're a small. They're a small. I haven't worn a small since middle school. So now a large or medium is a small. Yeah. The sizes are changing. It's different. The sizes are changing, and it's no joke. It's no joke. And if you love yourself and you want to live a sufficient amount of time, because we have amazing medicine, because we have the access to clean water and food and medicine when we need medicine, you can live a long time. But the quality of that life, you don't want to live to be 100 and be in a wheelchair and on medication for the second half of yours. People are on medication from when they're 40s, 50s, and on. That means half your life or more, you're on medication. The second half of your life, you want to be on medication. You want to be on diabetic medication. You want to be taking blood pressure pills for like the last fucking half of your life, 40s, 50s, passing away when you're 80, 90, 70s. So last 20, 30, 40 years of your life, you want to be on medication? That's fucked up. How many of you know someone that's on medication? Or you yourself are on medication? Just think about it. Probably everyone, whether it's a parent, grandparent, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, nephew, child. I'm sure pretty much everyone does. So fitness, health, let's bring that back to fitness and health. Let's have this conversation about what it actually means. It does not mean biceps. It does not mean abs. It does not mean glutes. It does not mean calves. It does not mean cardiovascular endurance. Okay, performance-wise, that could be. But I mean, we're talking, are you trying to look like someone who's an Olympic athlete or perform like someone who's a professional athlete, a very specific outcome? Or are you doing cardiovascular activity for cardiovascular health and you're just doing your cardio to be a healthy person and you're exercising? It doesn't mean don't try hard. That's where this is going to get twisted. It doesn't mean, oh, we don't push for excellence. We don't work hard anymore. That's not what it means. What it means is you contextualize your training. You contextualize what type of effort you're putting in. You contextualize what your goals are. Your goals need context. And I'm telling you, people, I love lifting and I love the way it makes me look and feel. But at the same time, more and more I am going through personally, I'm going through more and more periods of I don't want to lift. I'd rather just go on my porch and stretch and do yoga and do like some upward and downward dog. I'd rather do less overload. And I'm sure that's probably in part because I've been lifting for almost 20 fucking years. But my desire to be fucking beat down and my muscles to be sore, it's less and less. I'm going through more phases of not looking forward to it. I'm going through a lot more phases of just, I don't feel like lifting today. Let me do yoga instead. So I'm still doing stuff. I'm still doing every day. I'm still training and I'm still going to the gym and lifting. But more and more, I am just like, I don't want to be big. It's just so much fucking work and it's so much overload and it's so much more risk. And I'm not saying don't stop. I'm not saying stop lifting. I'm not saying I'm not training hard. What I'm saying is I'm having more and more of these like 2 or 3 days where I'm just, I feel stiff. I'd rather do yoga. I just feel like I'd rather do yoga rather than like, it's all like fucking like, smash, chalk up and just fucking rage every day. I'm enjoying the act of recovery more and more. So I'm just contextualizing that for more of a lifestyle in terms of maintaining it for the long term. And I'm not old by any means. I'm going to be 36 in a couple of weeks. But it's important to have this. It's important to have this understanding that now is when you have to make that change. For Stephanie, she is pursuing gaining weight and getting back to a healthy weight. That's great. If you're overweight, you need to start getting towards a healthy weight. But now is when you need to start to do that because it takes time to build these habits. And now is what's going to result in the end result. Like now is what's going to trigger what happens as a result in the end. In 30 years, what do you think 30 years? What do you think what happens in 30 years? What do you think is going to happen to you in 30 years in terms of what's going to cause what happens in 30 years? What situation you're in when you're 60 or when you're 70 or when you're 80 is going to be based on the choices you're making today. What types of exercise are you doing? What's your approach? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to accomplish that for? What's your goal? Are you going just after like physical, the way you look? Are you going after health? Are you really going intense? What's the purpose of keeping more weight, max? Like where's that going? What's the, right? Why don't you think a little bit more about what you're doing? It's time to analyze that a little bit more. It's time to understand the importance of the decisions that you're making today. it's important to understand the decisions that you're making today. Does that make sense? The decisions you make today are going to result in your outcome tomorrow. And when I say today and tomorrow, I mean this short term, maybe the next year, 5 years, 10 years, versus tomorrow, quote unquote, being 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. So you can break that down to like the next couple of weeks, to in the next couple of months, or next year or so, and stack them up, because the choices you make over the course of the next year and the year after that, those are just going to layer on top of themselves. And then in 50 years, you're going to have the result of all those years that you stacked up. Are those years that you're adding up going to be valuable? Are you doing that from a smart standpoint? Are you doing that from a longevous standpoint? Are you really investing your time and your energy appropriately for things that are going to benefit you long term? Or are you trying to chase that carrot that's right in front of you? Are you trying to get abs? Why? Not that it's a bad thing, but abs are not health. And we don't associate abs with anything but fitness. That's a goal. I cannot tell you how many people message me every fucking day about losing belly fat. That's why it's always a tag and a keyword, belly fat. That's why we're talking about belly fat, stomach fat. Why? To have a flat stomach? No, people want to see squares. People are trying to get so lean that they can see the muscle through their skin. And it might seem a little bit, okay, well, it's easy for you to say you have abs, easy for you to say you have muscles. Yes, because it's been fucking 2 decades of me lifting and eating consistently. This is a byproduct of that. But I think all of you can agree I'm not the leanest person on earth. I'm not shredded. I mean, some people might think so. But if you looked at how I eat, I'm not trying to accomplish this. Like, I'm just maintaining. This is about where I am, but I'm not restricting myself. I'm not limiting myself. I'm not even counting my calories in terms of, I'm going based off habit. I'm going based off experience. I'm going based off my own intuition that I've developed over 20 fucking years. So that's not for beginners. When we talk about counting calories and not counting calories, it has to be discussed in the context of, if you are not counting calories, it doesn't mean they don't exist. It just means maybe your goal for not counting calories is more on the quality and the food and how you perform, rather than are you trying to gain or lose weight. And that should be more reserved for people that really understand the separation between the two. That has to be coming from the creators. That has to be coming from the trainers. That has to be part of the conversation. A lot of these phrases are thrown out there by people with big channels, and they're not given the proper context from that. And a lot of people that shouldn't be hearing that kind of information take that little snippet, that little sound bite, and then run with it. Just like the thing on the Joe Rogan podcast about the guy was saying, no one should be deadlifting. I see a lot of people commenting. It's like, fuck, you listen to one podcast, one person that said one thing out of context, and now everyone's gonna be like, oh, but so this person on the podcast said you shouldn't deadlift. I don't give a fuck. One person on one podcast said that people shouldn't be deadlifting. Okay, buddy. You shouldn't be picking things up off the ground. That's not like and you miss the entire context behind it. And you might not have the proper education or the experience to understand the context that should be taken in. So it's important to remember why you are training, what the real goal is. And the goal is to minimize your risk of injury. It's to improve your fucking health, but from a longevous standpoint. But guess why no one talks about that? Because it's not fucking sexy. I am committed to continue ramming that fucking knowledge cock down your throat. Sorry, guys. But, well, I guess you never know. So take it for what it's worth. All right. We're all inclusive here on the Daily Swole podcast. My friends, it's always about the long term. And here's the thing, you're going to be in the long term anyway. You're going to be 10 years down the road in 10 years. Why not make better decisions that are going to lead you to a more successful or a more positive outcome? That is something that needs to be understood. You're going through this time anyway. So it's really important that you are approaching your fitness today with the understanding that it's going to impact and give you tomorrow's results. It's not so much, okay, what's your goal and you're training for that. It's understanding what you're doing is going to lead you to a goal. Think about that. Just because you want what you're doing today to lead somewhere doesn't mean that it will. Maybe it'll get you injured. Maybe it'll get you very, very sick because you're cutting your calories too much because you're trying to get shredded. That's your goal. Get shredded. So what are you going to do? You're going to do whatever it takes on this journey to get shredded. And a lot of people make those types of short-term decisions, super restrictive cutting diets, fat burners, whatever it is. But if you understand that it's actually the reverse, it's not the goal, that it's both. You have to understand that it's not just the goal, okay, and then you reverse engineer and make the appropriate steps, but it's also by default whether those steps are even correct. Maybe you have a goal in mind and you worked backwards and you made terrible decisions like, well, I need to get shredded. So then you work backwards. Well, I need to lose fat. Let me take a fat burner. Boom, boom, boom. And you take those steps and you're not going to get shredded. You're actually going to go and fucking veer off into a ditch because you are going to an extreme that's putting your health at risk. So the same way you want to build your plan and approach your training for the long term based on your goal, understand that no matter what, the steps you're taking to get to that goal are going to lead to a result, hopefully your goal. But if you're not doing it from a longevous standpoint, you can easily fall short and have many more issues to deal with than just simply failing and not achieving your goal. You don't want to fuck yourself up. And health and fitness needs to come back more to health and fitness. So to return back to the main topic, the video that we discussed, Stephanie Buttermore's and Alan's new video today. So go watch it. Every Damn Day Fitness dropped it. Stephanie Buttermore, Cheat Days, all in, and the problem with the fitness industry. It's a good video. It's a positive move in the right direction from a big channel. But the issue is the perception and the attachment of ego, identity, and self-worth into subscribers, into followers, into post engagements. And it's very important to separate the two things. This is whether or not she loses followers or subscribers. I certainly feel like it'll be the opposite because people are tired of the fucking same old bullshit, which is why I have a following, which is why Alan has a following, because these voices in the void of the dark area, the space that people are afraid to go, thinking about things other than having abs, thinking about things that are other than having big biceps, thinking about the long term, preparing for the future. How scary that is. How fucking scary that is to prepare for the long term. No one likes that. It's not sexy to sell fitness and health approaches from a business standpoint because people want things now. I want to know what I can fucking see. I want abs like tomorrow. No one wants to save money. No one wants to put money in the bank. No one wants to invest in long-term stocks. People want the quick fix. Everyone wants cryptocurrency. Everyone wants short. Amazon Prime. I did videos on that. Everyone wants short-term results. The problem is that's not the approach that's going to get you the fucking results that you want. If you go in to a long-term approach, guess what will happen? You will actually get better short-term results because you're putting the right building blocks down that's going to give you that proper foundation. And a lot of people are really working at some high levels before they're actually locked down their basics. So it's very important to understand the context. So do you have any questions about this? Any comments? Did you see the video? What are your thoughts on this? We'll take a couple questions before we head off here. Let's see. The squat rack is a safe place. I use it. Nice one, Sergio. What's up, Instagram? How we doing? How we doing, fam? What are your thoughts on this? If you have not yet gone and seen that video, and if you haven't checked yesterday's episode, 1161, that was the conversation between myself and Alan Roberts. So if you missed it, go check it out. If you saw it, did you like it? Did you enjoy that episode? We'll be having some more interviews and some more guests on the Sleeves Cast coming up. A reminder for those of you that are maybe new to the podcast, This is a live stream every single day. However, when I do travel, when I am out and about, you will not catch the live stream on every place. And I will be out for a couple days. So tomorrow, Saturday, will be the last live stream for just a couple days. However, there will be live streams exclusively for the private Swolenormous community. So that's going to be in the private Facebook group. And if you're interested in learning more about how to access that, just go to swolenormousx.com. You can join the Daily Swole Club, which is our little private Patreon that help support the podcast, the production of the podcast, and help keep the podcast ad-free. So you pretty much choose your support and you join the private Facebook group, and you also get access to the private Swolenormous community via Swolenormous X memberships, but all that there, the Daily Swole Club and full memberships, you can learn more at swolenormousx.com. So if you don't want to miss any of the live streams, then make sure that you go and check that out. That way you don't miss it. So I'll see all of you there in the private Facebook group. Sunday it will be the first one, and it'll be probably Sunday for the next couple days, but I'll be giving you more information on that. I think this dog is going to have a heart attack if I don't walk him. Go walk your dog, Allie May on Instagram. I watched it this morning, and it's so sad that someone should feel worried about getting healthy. Well, I don't know how worried she is, because she made the videos and she's been making them. So she's doing it. She put it out there, but I'm sure there's this concern because most women don't want to talk about gaining weight, but there's a huge issue. There's a huge issue with the extremes. There's the fat acceptance, body positivity, big, healthy at every size. Well, there are a lot of people that are anorexic, that are really malnutritioned, and they're giving out advice. There's a bunch of these nutritionists out there that are giving advice. Like, I'm a nutritionist helping people get healthy. You are skin and bones. You shouldn't be giving anyone advice. You shouldn't be giving anyone information. It's like taking nutrition advice from someone who's 300 pounds overweight. Get the fuck out of there. That you're the one that needs fucking advice. Take training information or get personal training from someone like a fat personal trainer. Get the fuck out of here. Go train yourself. Go train yourself. Oh, you're welcome, Gina. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love interacting with you. I hope you all enjoy the podcast. I know you do. That's why you're here. But that's what has always separated the Daily Swole from other podcasts. I love the live interaction. I love the live engagement. I think anyone that does a podcast is missing out by not connecting with their audience. Just every time that I make a podcast, and if there's just let's say the live stream breaks or it shuts down, it's not the same. I just want to sit here and fucking talk into a microphone and then post it. Like, I love the whole interaction. I think it's great. I really appreciate your attention. All right. Thank you. The Daily Swole Club, I'm using voice to text. Nice. Just finished yesterday's podcast. And then there's Brittany Dawn, Christina Glows. Well, that was the one I made the first video on. Christina Glows was the first one I made. But this one that I have another, unfortunately another one, but it's important. It's important. Thank you, Bethany. There's no BS with you. We need more of that in life. Cut the BS. No more bullshit, beaches. No more bullshit. Let's see. Instagram, what's going on? Love your videos. Keep them coming. Thank you. Mac Fitness 3146. Oh my God, this is true. None of the PTs I work with train. How can you not? How can you not train? If you're in the fitness industry, how can you not train? How can you not? Great. Katie, I just started listening a few days ago. Also sent it to my mom. Ooh. Oh my goodness. She's going to get that knowledge cock slap. You just sent her a big ear dick. Fatal Shark, thank you. My wife and I love your content, man. You really change our thoughts on our health, not just for us, but our kids. That's where it starts. If you take anything from this episode, make sure that you understand the impact of translating this into your to your children. That is something that really will impact the long term. That's something that will really make that difference for the long term. If you think about our long term, the next 20, 30 years, if you have a young child, they're going to be a grown adult in that time frame. So the choices that you make, your children see, younger people see, your friends see, everyone sees what you're doing, especially with social media, especially when you go to work, when you socialize in person and online. The choices that you make, the choices that you're making now are impacting people around you. They are, whether you know it or not, they are. Just like my podcast, from those of you that say thank you, and for those of you that tell me, oh, I changed X, Y, and Z, that's amazing. But if 100 people tell me that, I know there's probably 1,000 people that haven't reached out or that I didn't see a comment that felt the same way. So you're always impacting people that you're not aware of, whether it's with positivity or negativity or actually real fucking information. So lead by example, 100,000%, Ali Mae. Lead by example. No, just don't lie to yourself. And don't pass on that bullshit. Be real with yourself. Understand the choices that you make impact tomorrow. And go check out that video that Alan posted yesterday or today. And check out yesterday's podcast, 1161. If you missed it, it's available everywhere. You can also find the podcast links at swolenormousx.com. You just click on podcast in the main menu. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for episode 1162 of the Most Muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleazecast, and Slaycast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. I'll see you tomorrow for 1163. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce Magoose, your boy, Papa Swolio. Out.